Good morning. I'm John Morris, and I'd like to welcome you to our interviews with leaders of business aviation. Today, I'd like to introduce Robert Fisch, President of Aviation Services at Luxaviation, one of the world's largest charter and management companies with a fleet of more than 260 business jets and helicopters. Good morning, Robert.
Well, good morning, John. For you, it's morning. For me, it's afternoon. I'm in Portugal today, so I'm trying something new. Since last time we spoke together, I am traveling. So at the end of the day, we forget sometimes that we have not been employed by Zoom or by Microsoft Teams, but we are in the airline industry. So I'm very happy to be traveling again. So for our group, we have been quite busy now till now, and we are foreseeing a further growth in the fleet, mostly on the fixed wing. Will include also a 737 now before the end of the year in the African region. So it starts. It has been quite a busy period. While we have been integrating some more airplanes, unfortunately, the flying has not been that great, and I think that is the problem that everybody had till now. If you look a little bit at the regions where we are active, which from our part Europe is Africa, Central America, and Australia, as well as Asia, Middle East. Every region has been secluded, and I think since our last interview, not much has happened. So where we see now at the moment, finally a small increase in the demand or in the flights. Let me come back to demand later on, but on the flights is at the moment Latin American and Caribbean. The flights intra-Schengen is still subject to various approvals, and if you see the news in the last couple of days, it has more tendency to close up again and to put some further restriction on the traveling instead of easing it up. And if you look at the increasing cases of the COVID pandemic, I think that we are not. The problem is not solved yet, so we'll have still a way to go. Now, regarding demand, that is quite interesting because the demand is basically at the same level as the years before, if not even increased. But the conversion rate between the demand and the flights is not good. Let's call things by name. It is really not good. It has decreased, of course, since last year. So and this has several factors that we could at least identify. There's a lot of shopping around, which is now not something new, but this is something that is part of our business. But there are also many flights who have been confirmed, and then due to the change of regulation or on the pandemic side, we had quite some cancellation, as well as also, let's say, just the feasibility of the flight. So since now the terms and conditions for most of the operators, at least in the charter market, have been aligned to cope with this pandemic, and to be able also to have more favorable terms to cancel a flight even last moment, we had a great deal of cancellation. So at the moment, the conversion rate is not really good. So apart that, we have also in our FBO business, it is if the flights are less, of course, business less, and apart a decent summer in the European side, but was limited to smaller aircraft, so less revenue. We had not a great year so far on the FBO side. So I think that is a little bit what is not only for Luxaviation Group, but I think across the entire Business Aviation branch. I think 2020 is gonna be a difficult year. Need to make the best out of it. So let's see how the rest of the year is gonna evolve. Now, under the recovery, there I need my crystal ball. if I may. So, John, you asked me that question already on our last interview. I still have not changed the crystal ball, so I don't know what to tell you about the recovery. I just hope, and that is a wish that the auditors, but the people who are in our industry, people around, that they stay healthy, that they take good care of themselves. If they do that and everybody stays healthy, we get rid also of this issue, and then we go back to business. But at the moment, I just have to have more patience. What can I say more?
Robert, looking at the cancellations versus demand, there seems to be pent-up demand, but is it realistic demand? And what are the main reasons for the cancellations, do you think? Is it travel restrictions, or is it just people changing their minds?
Well, I give you the answer for me as an optimist. I'm an eternal optimist, so I think that it is a genuine demand. I don't think that people have just nothing to do the whole day, and then they start to call around and see if Business Aviation has become cheaper than the airlines. So I think that the demand that is there is genuine, but let's have also a look at the type of demand. There are people who need to go long range travel, and they see that just the regulation does not permit it. You try to do a provisional booking. We have bookings who have been already provisions for several months, and the flights have been pushed back continuously. And it comes a moment where you just say, okay, that's it. We just cancel the flight until further notice, and there's not much you can do about it. I think that is part of the type of people that we have as long-term customers, people that are known. So to us, this is, I think, just part of the feasibility of the flight that does not work. Then I think there's another part of the genuine that is a genuine part of the demand, but they are completely new to our business, and so they are used to travel probably business class within Europe or between the Americas, Asia, and so on. And for whatever reason, be it health related, security, or because there are simple no connections anymore from our colleagues from the airliners, they want to revert to business aviation. And then they have a first try and they ask, okay, if I need to go now from A to B and then from B to C over 2 days and then coming back to A, how much is going to cost? And I think if you do that as a first-time traveler and you are not educated into what business aviation is and the whole flexibility that comes with our business, then the first quote that you're going to have, you're probably going to fall off your chair, and this will also then cancel the trip. Now, if we look at the full flexibility of the journey and not necessarily only the flight, but also the other advantages that we bring to the customer, then suddenly it regains some interest. So is the cancellation genuine? I would say yes. For the major part, at least, I'm convinced that it's a genuine cancellation.
Right. So of this demand then, it sounds as though it's a good thing that people are at least exploring business aviation and looking at it. Would you assume that some of this demand, even if it's disappointed right now, is going to be good for the future?
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is an opportunity. So every person who just clicks "get me a quote" or approaches someone, it gives a broad understanding what business aviation is. It introduces some new people into our world. So it is extremely important. I mean, even if it does not transform necessarily immediately into a trip, into a charter opportunity, into an airplane sale, but you have already the interest and people know that we exist. So I think that is what is very important. Now, how the evolution is going to be, that we're going to have to find out.
Okay, now going through this experience, traumatic as it is, what are you learning that you can apply for the future? How can we all be smarter going ahead, do you think?
Hmm. That is a very interesting question. I think for the future we have also to adapt to what is a little bit requested also by the larger public. I think that the decarbonization of our business is something that has been discussed for quite some time. The different sustainability programs that we're entertaining now, like the fuel and so on. I think this should be part of an answer of what we should learn for the future. So the general public is expecting things from us. Many of the items that we already do, like paying ETS, now CORSIA coming at us, paying the fees like every other airliner does. So this is not necessarily widely known by the public. But I think there we have also, as business aviation, we should have the responsibility to educate the public to know that we are a little bit the top of the spear, if I can say, in the aviation business. I think that our airplanes and helicopters are the ones who have the smallest, the lowest average in age since manufacturing. We have adopted usually all the latest technologies. The fuel consumption, if you look in the last 20 years, the evolution of the fuel consumption from the last stage 2 straight jets to the modern turbofans, if you look now at the Global 5500 and the following models, I mean, the evolution has been huge. Did we publish it? I think not enough. So what should we learn also for the future is not only the sustainability, but we need also to be able to educate people on our merits. So what has been achieved and what are the next items that we are looking at, and still always with the environmentally friendly thinking. I think that is something that we owe to the next generations. So, and then I think that we may have to consider also working much better together. Have maybe more alliances, have lower costs, introduce new models, and listen much more to the customer. There is a new customer base there. I think that we will see an evolution from the airliner world, people who are flying intra a country on a business class ticket, may be looking now at business aviation, but maybe we need to find a new entry level program for those people. So we need to adapt much more.
Well, Robert, that gives us a great deal to think about. You have some very, very valid and interesting comments there. So I'd like to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for your time, Robert, and good luck going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. You take good care, and then I hope to see you very soon. Stay healthy.